for the UC Davis Aggies, but there is no rest for the head coach or his players as Tim Plough joins us right now. Coach, it's Dave. Good morning.
Boys, how we doing?
Good. Just boy. Jason is in New York for broadcaster. Yeah, it's just you and me, Coach. It's just you and me.
This guy's not committed. You and I are committed to this. You know what I mean?
You got to choose your priorities, don't you? And he chose his.
Absolutely.
That's fine. It gives you and me more quality time together. How was your bye week? I'm assuming you weren't on an island somewhere with an umbrella. There's still tons of work to do.
Man, that would be really nice. Unfortunately, no. We had some practices, got to do some recruiting, and then I was Little League Baseball travel team basically for 72 hours. So it was. I don't know if there was much of a break there.
If you had a choice, would you rather have a bye following a 70-10 victory or a 70-10 loss? If you had to choose between the two.
Wow, that's a great question.
Thank you.
I think I honestly think the bye week is probably better after a loss.
Yeah.
Because if you're winning and you get the bye week, you feel like the guys might not take the bye week super seriously. Where after a loss, it's like, getting them to practice hard is a little bit easier, a little more motivation there.
Mm-hmm.
So I would probably say after the loss.
So for you, and we've learned this over the years, that a lot of times your job or part of your job is psychologist, and you're trying to, pull the right strings and make sure one doesn't get pulled more than the other. So do you as a coach, having a full 2 weeks in between games after a loss like that, and by the way, and we've talked about it before, it's the University of Washington. It's not like you were playing, Fred State or whatever. You're playing the University of Washington. You were not favored in this game. But at the same time, do you have to be careful, even though you want to go over mistakes and use the bye week to improve, to make sure the psychological confidence of these guys doesn't get too low in those 2 weeks?
Well, first, let's get Fred State on the schedule as fast as possible.
I don't even know off the top of my head.
We need to talk to our guys, see if we can replace that Washington game with Fred State as soon as possible. But no, I think the big thing I've tried to do is just be consistent, right? So whether we lose by 60 or win by 60, I want them to feel like I'm going to be the same guy regardless. And every Monday, we're going to have the same process of what we do when we review film. We're going to find good things. We're going to find bad things. We're going to try to find our below-the-line behavior and correct it. And we're going to try and find our above-the-line behavior and praise it. And hopefully that consistency shows the guys what I really want to try to teach them, which is I just want to be process-oriented. Like, it really doesn't make sense to continue wanting something if you're not willing to do what it takes to get it, and if you don't want to live the lifestyle, then release yourself from the desire, to crave the result, but not the process is going to guarantee disappointment most of the time anyway. So it's more about like, can you stick to the process every single week, regardless of the outcomes? And the only way I feel like I can help them with that is if I, exemplify that. If I give them the example of that weekly, whether we have a bye week or not, this is our process. We're going to stick to it regardless of the outcome. And hopefully if we give up our way to the process, that eventually we will have more good outcomes than bad. That's the only way I know how to do it.
Coach Tim Plough, UC Davis, joining us right now. Another bye week question, actually. I've always been curious, and I don't know that there's a universal answer amongst coaches. You're getting your bye week after your third, well, tactically your second, but your third game of the season of a 12-game season. That doesn't count playoffs. So simple math, I didn't go to college. That's 25% of your season gone. You have the bye week and then the next 75%. If you had full control over the schedule, for you, is there an ideal, like, would you put the bye week at the exact halfway point? Would you put it in the lower third so that it's some rest before the playoffs and the home stretch begins and the Causeway Classic? Where would you put the bye week if you could choose it every year?
I think the best part is maybe not right in the middle, but I'd probably like it somewhere maybe 3 quarters through the year.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you got 3 or 4 games after it, because you're hoping to be in the playoffs. And so if you have it middle of the year, then you might have 10, 11 weeks, before another break. Hopefully, the nice thing about this year, we had those 3 road games that were just brutal travel. So we get a bye week early, and then we play 4 straight games, and then we get another bye week. And so we kind of have 3 seasons. We have the first 3 games, we have the middle 4 games, and then we have the last 5 games. And there's little breaks kind of in between. And that's been nice. And if you play well enough, you get a bye week, before the playoffs like we did last year. I mean, we could be the masters of the bye here if we play this correctly. So we need to, we talked to our staff and team a lot this last 2 weeks. Man, I would love to be known as a team that plays well after a bye. Last year we had 2 byes, and I think we had combined like 96-17 was the 2 scores. So, hey, man, if we can be a great team off of a bye week, that's what good teams do, right? Like they prepare for 2 weeks, they should have an advantage, and they play well off the bye. We have 2 opportunities in the regular season to do that, and if we do well enough, we might get a 3rd opportunity in the playoffs. So this is an important week for us to come out and show that we've prepared and can play well with extra prep, which should always be an advantage for that team.
Well, you get 1 week of extra prep for Southern Utah, who comes in this weekend, 7 p.m. right here on Sactown Sports. Southern Utah doubled up Idaho State in their opening game, then a 3-point loss to San Diego on the road. Then Northern Arizona in a crazy game gets them by a point, 50-49. So now you have Southern Utah coming in. How's your prep going for those guys?
It's good. I think they're a good team. They've obviously the last 2 weeks they've had 2 losses, but San Diego's a playoff team every year, and man, I think NAU is really talented. They gave Arizona State all they could handle early in the year, and that was a wild game with a lot going on. Southern Utah's offense is averaging 40 points a game, and so I think they got a lot of talent. Coaches are good, so I expect this to be a really, really, really close game, well fought on both sides, just like it was last year when we played these guys. But feel good about the prep. We feel good in all 3 phases. Just got to continue to finish this week the right way, and hopefully play our best on Saturday, which I think we have yet to do. So, we try to tell our guys, like, let's just forget the opponent, focus on us. If we play our best, we can put ourselves in a position to beat anybody. So let's focus on us and seeing how well we can play, and hopefully we can play well.
Well, real quick, as we wrap up, funny enough, this game this weekend's a little bit extra special for me, not just as an Aggies fan. Just a quick story about, my daughter starting her first year at USC. My son is 16, but about 10 years ago, we actually vacationed in Cedar City, Utah, a home of Southern Utah. And we were walking on campus, and we brought our 2 French bulldogs, Gus and Gracie. And the chancellor just happened to be in the quad where we were, and came up and introduced himself. And we had a nice conversation, hey, kids, you might go to school here someday. Look, it's so beautiful. It's a beautiful campus, right? And he kneeled down to pet the older French bulldog of ours, Gus. And then next thing we knew, he took off running. There was a lake in the middle of the quad, and for no reason whatsoever, threw my dog in the lake. I had to dive in because French bulldogs can't swim. When I got Gus out of there, he wasn't doing well. I did mouth to nose resuscitation. He made it. He's still with us. But ever since then, that whole environment has left a really bad taste in my mouth. And I know you don't need extra motivation. But if you could just go out there and maybe look, if it's 4th down in the 4th quarter, you guys are up 30. It's the difference between a field goal and a touchdown. Maybe an end around. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I'll tell you the 2 things that came to mind is Cedar City family vacation. That is a normal thing. That's what a lot of people normally do.
Great hamburgers there, Coach. Amazing.
Unbelievable. Yeah. I've been there a few times. Let me tell you, that's the place you want to take your family.
It is.
I'm really disappointed that they did that.
Right?
And you don't do that. You don't do that to a man's best friend.
No, you don't. Dog didn't do anything.
it's time for us to defend your honor the way that Terrence Crawford defended his this past weekend, and we're gonna be ready to go.
Oh man, you know what? I didn't even think about that. All right, we're out of time, but next week we do have to spend a couple minutes on that fight. I know you're
gotta talk about that fight. Unbelievable.
I couldn't agree with you more. For boxing fans, that was a great fight for boxing fans, and it's always good to see big prize fights do well. Over 41 million people watch that thing. Coach, we look forward to broadcasting the game with Scotty the Body Marsh, the voice of UC Davis Aggies, right here on this station. I'm looking forward to many a touchdown call coming out of Scott's mouth. Glad you had a great bye week. Enjoy this weekend. And I'm going to jump the gun here. You know what I'm going to do when we get done with the show, Coach? I'm going to do my best to find some joy this week.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And I just want to remind you that your commitment to this, your partner, he's going to remain nameless. Because he chose not to be here this week. But
thank you.
If we can pull this off this week, it's going to be because of you.
You know what?
This partnership means a lot.
Honestly, having my children, this weekend's win, getting married in that exact order, biggest thrills of my life. Thanks, buddy.
Oh, I love it.
All right, man. Talk to you soon. Bye. That's Coach Tim Plough. We're way late for a break. When we come back, 3 for Madness. Adam Silver, are you a liar? I'm asking. I'm not saying don't sue me. Giannis Antetokounmpo said what?